First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Nibbler. Appreciate it when you are here. We start live streaming every weekday at 1 p.m. Pacific. We go through 4 p.m. If there's breaking news, we'll be here for that. And we are on our website, our apps, and on social media on YouTube and Facebook. So thank you for joining us. Today, we are talking about a local company that is soon to be, well, they already were kind of national, but now they're really going to be everywhere. I'm talking about Secret Aardvark Hot Sauce. If you're a fan of hot sauce, you definitely know who they are. And if you're not, well, you're going to find out all about them here. They've been around Portland for 20 years. This is where they were founded. And now the announcement has come out that they have partnered with Taco Bell to be part of a new menu item that's going to be coming out there. So we're going to be discussing that with owner Stacy Moritz. It's a really interesting discussion about that. And if you have opinions about hot sauce, now is the time to drop in your comments in this as well. So let's go straight to it. I'm going to play this right now. This is previously recorded from yesterday, but here it is for the first time, Stacy Moritz. Stacy Moritz. Stacy, thank you very much for joining me here today. Really appreciate you being on the show. Excited to talk about hot sauce. I will say, full journalistic disclosure, I like Secret Aardvark, so I do have some at my house. So I'm not gonna pretend that I don't. But yeah, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And to talk about this really incredible story that Secret Aardvark has, I wondered if you could just share with everybody who may not know, how this all began and how it all got started.
It's actually our 20th anniversary this year, so and we've been around a while, right?
Right.
My husband, now my late husband, was a chef and restaurant owner here in Portland, and he left that, and he was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And I'm like, well, you've wanted to do the hot sauce thing, so why don't you do that? No, I don't want to do that. That's too much work. So I made him get a job. That lasted 2 weeks. And he was like, I hate this. And I'm like, that's called working for somebody else. He's like, they want you to leave when there's still things to do. And I'm like, that's called working for somebody else. You should do the hot sauce thing. And so away we went, and we started in the Portland farmers markets. We did, at one point we were doing about 7 or 8 of them a week. He came to me after about a year and he said, I'm not making any money. And I said, no, you're not. And I put it all into a spreadsheet, and he's like, wow, how many do I have to work to make this amount of money? And it wasn't a lot. And so again, the magic of a spreadsheet, I showed him, and he's like, I can't work that many. And I'm like, nope, you sure can't. And so we made the decision to take it into retail, into grocery, and into restaurants. And so out of the farmer's market we went, and onto the shelves.
I mean, it seems like that's the goal for just like entrepreneurship wise for selling like that. A big goal is to get into retail, but that's a hard process to do. To jump from just farmers markets into retail, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, no brainer. Well, that's difficult. Like, how did you go about that process of getting your hot sauce in there, amongst all the other noise of other sauces and things that are out there?
Well, if you think back to 20 years ago, there really wasn't a Portland-based hot sauce at the time. We really were the start. And so he would go to what was then cash and carry, get a bunch of boxes, load up a dozen bottles in each box, and put them in the back of his pickup and drive to various stores and try and get people to take it, on their shelves. And a few did. Market of Choice, of course, jumped right on board. He went to New Seasons in Sellwood. This is a trick of his, and knocked on the employee door and said, hey, would you put some of these in your break room? And they're like, sure. And about 3 weeks later, he showed up again and knocked on the back door, and they came and they said, oh my God, we've been trying to figure out how to get a hold of you. There was no website. He had no business cards, and there was no information on it. It wasn't in any of the databases at that point for grocery stores. And they placed their first order. So we got real boxes with all the real legal labels and all of those things, and began delivering that also out of the back of his truck for a number of years.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, that's a smart move, though. Get the employees on board. and who's gonna say no to free hot sauce being delivered? Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
And then giving them contact info, so you go from there, from back of a truck, you start getting into all of these retail stores, and then it really just, I've got to imagine it just kind of really took off from there.
Yeah, he passed in 2009, and when he passed, we were less than 100,000 a year in sales. So we were pretty small. Oh, and he was a touring musician, so he had that on his plate as well, right? It is Portland, and after he passed, I am not a touring musician, by the way. I just kept showing up and delivering sauce. I hired my first employee, and we delivered sauce and kind of drove it around to places, right? And we started growing. It really wasn't until a few years after that there are a lot of hard work of me and my team, and by that I mean me and one other person at that point. It wasn't until 11 years ago that I hired my next two staff people. But we drove it around and delivered sauce. I used to deliver sauce on the way to my day job, which meant I was oftentimes in a suit because I worked in healthcare. And people would be like, wow, Aardvark's delivery drivers make a lot of money. They're in suits. And I'm like, no, that I'm headed to my day job. And, it was just little by little. We got to the point that we hired somebody else to deliver sauce, which really left us open to do more sales and get it in more locations. And then it just began to grow. We were on season 4 or season 5. I can't remember. I think it's season 4 of Hot Ones. So internationally, people started knowing it from that show. And it's really been the last probably 4 years. COVID for hot sauce was great, right? Because everybody was home cooking and they didn't know what to cook. But whatever they cooked, they could put hot sauce on it and make it better, right?
Right.
And so that we actually probably grew more during COVID than I expected to. But a lot of that was just, we work the trade shows. I spend a lot of time myself doing sales. I have people who do sales now as well, but people think I've made it look easy, but I have not. It's a really hard thing to get into grocery stores, and it's a really hard thing to get in front of people and to get people to notice you, because there is a lot more noise out there in the hot sauce category, which I think is a really good thing, than there was 20 years ago.
Yeah, and actually I was going to talk about that, just the hot sauce category in general. You have Hot Ones, which I think really helped out, but it was already such a huge growing category. And as you mentioned, 20 years ago, not as many to compete with. So you think all of this, the competition and the variety that's out there, that's a good thing for the industry?
I do. I think if you try Secret Aardvark and you decide, oh, hey, I do like hot sauce because I don't like, I'm not going to pick on any of the big names, but I don't like those vinegar-based ones, right? Because I don't like vinegar. I think it opens up the world, and it opens up that culinary world for you to try other things and other hot sauces. And so I'm always happy when somebody's like, oh, my favorite hot sauce is, a small local brand. I'm like, that's great.
Right. I think that's an awesome outlook and really great for the category too. And let's talk about, though, some of the different kinds of hot sauce that Secret Aardvark has, because clearly it's expanded over the years. So can you give everybody just a little bit of an idea of what the breadth of variety is?
We have 7 flavors, 2 marinades. One is our drunken garlic black bean. That one has no heat. Our drunken jerk, I always say try not to be one, but it's really great sauce. It's a Jamaican jerk, and it's got some heat to it, and it's a marinade. Then you get into the 5 hot sauces. Most people know our habanero hot sauce. That's the one that you find on a variety of restaurants' tables in the local area, as well as Burgerville. We got picked up in Burgerville last year, which is pretty fabulous. Another great local company, right?
Nice.
And it's the one that was on Hot Ones. It's the one that most people know, and it's a great sauce. And then our Sarabanero, and that's the sauce of the day right now with Taco Bell, right? And that's our green sauce. I don't call it a verde. I call it green because it's not the warm verde sauce. And then we have some that came out during COVID or right after COVID, because what else did I have to do, right? Is a smoky, and that's our chipotle habanero. We have a Reaper sauce. That's a smoked Reaper. It's got some heat. It's sneaky heat. And then we've got a red scorpion. That's a fermented scorpion pepper.
Wow, yeah, that one scares me. I did try a Reaper pepper as a segment on this show last year, and I was hurting for a while. So I'm in the more milder range. But let's talk about this partnership with Taco Bell. So, I mean, this is huge. Can you tell us, I guess for everybody out there, can you tell us what this partnership is and how this came about that Secret Aardvark is partnering with Taco Bell for this new menu item?
We're a part of their, it's not a seasonal menu, but they do a kind of an annual update with their nacho fries. And we've been told it will be called Secret Aardvark Habanero Nacho Fries. And you hear my voice cut out because it gives me, I'm still a little anxious about it until I actually see it on the menu board, right? They've taken their nacho fries and they're going to add a sauce that they've made to it. And we're part of that sauce. It's kind of a ranch chili pepper sauce. It's pretty fabulous. And it'll have, last I heard it was going to have some chicken on it and cheese and some nacho cheese and sour cream and pico de gallo. And the prototype I got to see was amazing. So I'm hoping that's what they continue with.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead. Well,
so how did it happen?
You go.
Sorry. It was just, I think I got an email, and I got an email from a subsidiary that they work with, not directly from them. And I was like, I thought it was spam. I almost swiped left, right? And I almost got rid of it. And I was like, well, let me look at this. Because I'll get 600 emails in a day. And I realized, this isn't spam. And it took, I think, 1 or 2 calls before I even figured out who it was going to be for, right?
Wow.
Because they kept saying things like, it's Saratoga and Salina and Yum Foods. And I'm finally like, wait, Yum Foods?
Yeah.
I know who Yum Foods is, right? And so after a little digging, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Taco Bell. We're talking Taco Bell. And it's funny, I could have just deleted it and who knows what would have happened, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, that's crazy. It's just an email coming through and then having to go through all that. I mean, once you figured it out, let's talk about this. But, starting in 2004, 20 years later, would you have ever thought that Secret Aardvark would be part of a Taco Bell menu nationwide?
No, I really wouldn't have. And the green sauce has a special place for me. That's the first sauce I put out that's mine and not Scott's. And so when they called, I thought for sure they were talking the habanero, right? Everybody loves the habanero. I love the habanero. I'm like, oh, that's what they're going to want. They're like, no, we've tried. They were at one point they were doing a trial with both of them. And they're like, oh yeah, we really love the habanero, but we really love the habanero. And I was like, really? Because that was like mine, right? That was my first submission into the lineup. And it was pretty exciting for me. And to think that they talk about what an honor to have them say, we love yours and we want to put it on our menu nationally. And we think that much of your product and your business and the way you do business. And that was a lot for me.
That's amazing. How important is it, or how does it feel, I guess, having a Portland-based company now being recognized in this hot sauce world nationally? Not that you haven't been before, but, being recognized nationally for this.
It's surreal. We've been working on this for months, so we've known about it. But to actually have them finally announce it publicly, it was like, pinch me, is this real? Oh, wait, I guess it is.
I have to ask one hot sauce question. I realize we've been going for a while too, but I have to ask a hot sauce question. For you, now that you have one of your creations out there, what is the most important thing to think about when someone is out there creating their own hot sauce?
It needs to have flavor, not just heat. I mean, I'm not a chili head, so other people would tell you something different. But for me, it needs to have flavor, not just heat.
And that's what it really comes down to, is making sure you have those different ingredients that'll give it that flavor that makes it unique.
I think so. I think it's got to be more than just peppers. I mean, it's not that hard to do a pepper in with some vinegar, salt, and water, right? So you got to make it something special and something that people really want to eat.
Perfect. Well, Stacy, I want to say thank you very much, for joining us here to talk about this and talk about the story of Secret Aardvark and all the success. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a fan. And but yeah, congratulations on this. It's so cool to see a cool company, a local company here, just getting all of that recognition, and to see it. I mean, it's gonna be weird going to Texas and seeing Secret Aardvark on a Taco Bell menu. I mean, that's awesome. So congratulations on all of that, and thanks so much for joining us here.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
All right, so again, that was Stacy Moritz from Secret Aardvark Hot Sauce. So great interview, learning about that in a local company who's doing amazing. So fantastic to hear about that. We have more coming up here for Fox 12 Now, coming up at 1:30 p.m. I'm going to be joined by the local head of the Flight Attendants Union to talk about the demonstration that went on at Alaska Air, regarding Alaska Air yesterday. So these are Alaska airline flight attendants. You probably saw that they had a demonstration. They also voted to authorize a strike. We're going to discuss what that means exactly, what the next process is, and could this eventually affect flights coming out of PDX. We'll cover all of that with him. And again, that's at 1:30. If you are watching on the apps and the website, I've got more over there. We cover some other topics that are not on Facebook or YouTube, so it's a good time to download that Fox 12 Oregon app or head over to kptv.com and join me there. That's where I'm headed. I'll talk to you more here in just a few. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.